everyone? Welcome to the Georgia Meth Show. My name is George. I am your host for today's show. Now, you guys, we got a couple things we got to discuss today. A couple NFL topics, baseball situation, and basketball. It's a big day for us New York fans, and specifically Mets, Yankees, and Knicks. It's going to be fun today. It's an exciting Friday. It's a good Friday. Before we start, make sure you guys hit that like button, comment down below your thoughts and opinions on the topics we discuss or anything that you guys want to bring up that we can discuss about. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps me out and it's absolutely free. You don't even have to pay a penny. That's how good it is. It helps me out a lot and it's absolutely free. Hit that subscribe button. Join the Georgia Meth channel. This is where we come and do our talks and all that about sports, anything related. We always keep it 100. We tell the truth. We'll give our full honest opinion, all that jazz. Also, one thing I do want to plug in, make sure you guys go check out my Georgia Meth Reacts, Mr. Georgia Meth Reacts channel. That's where we do pure reactions of anything and everything. And also Mr. Georgia Meth Games. That's where we do gaming. Those are on those channels. This channel is just solely for the show and just talk about sports, things like that. Reactions and gaming is on those two separate channels. Go check them out. They'll be in the link down in the description. All right, let's get into this show. As you know, let's start off with the positive vibe spread. Now, I like this one. I think a lot of people are going to like this one also. Here it is. Lots of people want to ride with you in the limo, but what you want is someone who will take the bus with you when the limo breaks down. That was a quote by Oprah Winfrey. And here's how I took it. It's very simple, but I guess just to explain it a little bit more in depth for people. She's basically saying lots of people want to be with you when you're up, but not when you're down. So basically it's to say they want to be with you when you're rich, but not when you're poor. And it's a true saying. And it's sad, but it's the harsh truth, you know? A lot of people don't want to fight with you when you're at the bottom. They want to fight with you once you're successful. And those are the ones that you got to be really careful with. You got to be careful with those people that don't mess with you at the beginning. When they don't mess with you when you're over here grinding, pulling and struggling and sweat and dripped out, you know, working hard. They don't want to be with you at those times. They want to be with you when you're in a Lamborghini or you're in a Ferrari or you're in a Porsche GT3. When you're up and they see you are in a Corvette and style and all that, that's when they want to be up. But they don't want to be with you when you're in the struggle. You know, that's the true people that you got to watch out for. Because that's what I like to tell people. Keep those around you that mess with you since the bottom. I think I'm going to go out a little bit out of this. I'm going to talk about one person you guys probably know, Duke Dynasty. You know, and his partner more and specifically Dabo, I think his name was. Yeah, Dabo. I have so much respect for him because you could tell that he's such a real one. And this quote goes so perfect with it. He's such a real one because they've known each other since the bottom. So he's seen Duke since the bottom. And I say to people every time, those are the type of people you want in your group that have been with you from the bottom and have seen you struggle and have seen you sweat, go grinding and all that to get to the level that you're at today. And you could just tell that he's a real one. He's one of those that you want in your circle because he's not on that fake shit. He never will be on that fake shit. He's always going to be real since, you know, to the day he dies. And that's the good friends that you want a part of your group every time. But that is today's quote. I hope you guys liked it. Let's get into the sports. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Juan Soto and the Yankee series. As you guys know, today is the first game of the 3-game series of this weekend between the Yankees and Mets. Mets will be at Yankee Stadium, so it's going to be fun. Now, John Heyman did discuss, it looks like with Juan Soto, his thoughts about coming to the Yankee Stadium and all that stuff. He says, I made a decision, and I'm happy that I made it. You look around, we have an unbelievable team, and it's going to be a good team for a long time. Then another thing also that he said was, I think this was in specific to John Heyman also, was John Heyman asked him a question on his return to Yankee Stadium in the incoming Subway Series between the Mets and the Yankees. I guess his thoughts. He said, it's going to be 50,000 people against one. They're going to try to get one on me. You know, it's part of it. Whatever they do, they have the right to do it. I'm just going to go out there and do my stuff. I'm just going to try and focus on my game. Hey, it's gonna be exciting. The amount of boos that people are gonna give, especially Yankee fans, is gonna be exciting, y'all. Hey, listen, he's gonna get booed for a while, but for the Yankee fans, it's understandable. He came to the Mets, and for $5 million more, and got it. That it's a harsh truth, but it happens. It happened with Cano. It's gonna happen now with Soto. Listen, it's gonna be fun. I've been looking forward to this series for a while now. It's gonna be great. There's the boos that he's gonna get because he's gonna be second. It's gonna be exciting. But let's see. Hey, the Mets have they swept the Yankees in those Subway Series that they played last season. So we'll see what happens this one. And right now, the Mets are looking a bit better than the Yankees record wise. So let's see what happens. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait to see how both teams perform and do well. And let's see, let's see what ends up happening with Juan Soto. Hopefully he hits one out, and you know it goes. Here's the thing, because some Yankee fans, they're just assholes, obnoxious too. Listen, I understand it. He left y'all's team. He went cross town, all that jazz for a little bit more money and, a little bit more perks. I understand it. But you guys also got to understand this is a business at the end of the day. Like, I get it, as a fan, okay, whatever. But also, you got to understand this is a business at the end of the day. The perks that the Mets were willing to give him between, the suites, the security guards, tickets, all of this was way different than what the Yankees were willing to give him. And I think that's what people got to understand. It's like, okay, I get it. Your favorite player left, but guys, you got to understand it's a business. This decision that he had in this offseason was for his lifetime. It was to set up for generations of for his grandkids, for the grandkids of his grandkids, all that, And this contract, is going to set it really, but people got to understand it. Like, after this, he's done. He won't be going back to free agency unless he opts out of the 5th year, but he won't be going back to free agency after the 15 years are done. He's probably going to retire. So people got to understand this was a lifetime decision type thing, and I get it. Hey, you get security guards, all that. Of course, you want your family to be protected, especially in New York where it's a bit crazy. That's understandable. And the Yankees weren't willing to give it, and that's respectable also. There's nothing you can hate about it. It's a respectable decision. They didn't want to have him, they didn't want to give him, the suites and all that. Hey, they didn't do it for Judge. I respect it. It's a respectable decision. Here's what I'll say is just have fun. Now, just don't go wild throwing stuff or doing dumb shit. Have fun with it, but don't do out of line stuff like some Yankee fans have done. Um, but it's a part of the game. It's sad, but at the end of the day, we love this sport. We have fun with it and all, but people got to understand it is a business. This is a business. This is where these players get paid. This is their job. After this, that's it. So they have to do what's best for them. It's a harsh truth that we've honestly realized, but it happens. Think about it. Do you guys think that us Mets fans would want to let DeGrom leave? Hell no. We didn't want DeGrom to go, but he left and he chose to leave. So, we had to go a different route. And, it's a sad case. We went and got Justin Verlander as a replacement, and obviously it went to dog shit. But, it happens. It's part of the game, sadly. All right, let's continue. Onto some football here, you guys. So we're talking about Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin. So this was something on First Take by Ryan Clark. He thinks Mike Tomlin should consider leaving Pittsburgh as he's an unfireable coach there. So this started because Dan Orlovsky claims that the Steelers are going to go 0-6 because they play the Jets, Seahawks, Patriots, Vikings, Browns, and Bengals. Now, here's my thing. You got to look at this two ways because we still have 3 to 4 months until the season starts. We're in May. The season doesn't start till September. I think the 4th or 5th. Here's what we have to think about. and I'll give them both the benefit of the doubt. Now, I will say this. If the team is exactly how it is right now, goes into the playoffs, I said the playoffs, goes into the series, is the first opener like this, where you have DK and then Robert Woods and then Mason Rudolph as your quarterback and then Kenneth Gainwell as your running back, listen, yes, you will be 0-6. That is for sure. Because this team, if they go into it like this is embarrassing because this is going to be bad. This team stinks. Kenneth Gainwell, I don't know why they went out and got him. They had two good running backs. I don't know what happened. He's not good at all. He was literally like the backup for the Eagles, and he wasn't nothing crazy. You have Robert Woods as your number 2. What are you doing with that? Like, that's going to be nothing. Then you have Mason Rudolph, who knows what he's going to be like, you know? And it's just like, all you got really to name is DK Metcalf offensively and your tight end, Pat. And that's it. Now, let's say they go out, because this is the other side that I would disagree with Dan if it happens. What if they go out, they sign, let's say, Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback. Let's say maybe they go out and get Keenan Allen as their number 2. Let's say they go out, maybe get a Nick Chubb as their running back, has Kenneth Gainwell as their backup, how it should be. Then we have a different conversation, because I think they could definitely go out, beat the Seahawks with a team like that. Maybe the Patriots, maybe not. The Vikings is a possibility. Think about it. You don't know what JJ McCarthy is going to be like. Who knows if he wets the bed, the first couple weeks. The Browns, I think they could beat them, especially with like that team like that. They would definitely be able to beat them. Bengals, I don't think so. No. But out of those lineups, 1 through 7, I think they could beat the Seahawks. I think they could beat the Patriots. It's a possibility. I think they could beat the Vikings, and I think they could beat the Browns. So it's with Mike Tomlin. I don't. It's to the point where it's not that he's unfireable. He does a good job. The problem is that they haven't been able to get over the hump, and I want to say the weapons that he's been given hasn't been anything good. He did have 2 good quarterbacks, Justin Fields and Russell Wilson last season. But then, you got George Pickens, who's a headache. And it's just the situation there. I don't know. He just hasn't been given some good tools. I think the Steelers should go out, get Aaron Rodgers, see if he goes and, is willing to play again. I say go out and get him. I think you pair him up with DK Metcalf, especially in a smart market where he's not going to have to worry about anything like how he was with the Jets. I think he'll do good. I think if you bring in like a Keenan Allen and a Nick Chubb, running back and receiver, I think that would be a good roster. Think about it. He's still on the free agent market, both players. I think it would be a good choice. And I think the Steelers would be a little bit better. Now, will they be better than like the Ravens? No. The Ravens right now, I think, they're just going to be on that tough shit. Problem with the Ravens is just that Lamar, when it comes down to pressure, he chokes, in my opinion. But I think the Steelers need to do those moves if they want to be an upcoming challenge. Right now, with this roster, I think they look dog shit. I'm sorry, but they look horrible. Now, who knows if maybe Mason Rudolph goes crazy? But think about it. You got Kenneth Gainwell. You got, it's not good. And then you got Robert Woods as your number 2. Like, that's not good at all. What would that be? Let's see. Hey, we got 3 months. Let's see what happens. All right, switching over to Underdog, you guys. I'm going back with my Knicks and Boston series. Y'all, we're going to speak about that in a little bit. But here's my picks. I got Jalen Brunson higher than 26.5 points. Knicks need obviously to win this game, because if we don't win game 6, we're screwed. That's the first thing I'm going to say. Obviously, he's their guy. He's going to come up. He's going to clutch up, do what he got to do. I think he'll get it. Number 2, Derek White. I have him higher than 17.5 points. Boston obviously needs to win, and Jason is not there. White's been their number 2 option. He got 34 the game prior. I think he will for sure get 18 points, especially that, Boston would need to win. I think he's definitely going to come up. Jaylen Brown, I got him higher than 21.5 points. Same thing. Boston needs to win. And right now, with Jason out, he's the number 1 guy. He needs to step up. Karl Anthony Towns, I have him higher than 16.5 points. He's going to have to clutch up and do what he got to do. I believe this is where Carl needs to show why the Knicks traded for him was worth it. This is where he needs to come up and shine in the bright lights because we need to win. Last one, Josh Hart, higher than 16.5 points. Listen, Josh Hart played his heart out in Boston, and I believe he will do it this especially at home. He's going to come clutch and help the Knicks win for sure. Those are my sports bets. Like I say every time, bet responsibly. Don't do nothing dumb. And let's get our bag. Listen, we need this win. We're going to speak about it in a little bit. But let's talk about Caleb Williams and the Bears, you guys. So it was reported that Caleb Williams and his father looked for ways to avoid him getting drafted by the Bears. I was like, oh, shit. Now I'll explain, why it's understandable in a second, but here's the info. So Caleb Williams is the Chicago Bears quarterback, but he reportedly didn't want to be ahead of the NFL draft. ESPN replayed details from the upcoming book American Kings, a biography of quarterbacks by Seth on Thursday, which basically said Carl, the father of Caleb, didn't want his son to play for the Bears franchise that traditionally struggled to develop quarterbacks. Do I want to go there? I don't think I can do with it. Former Bears offensive coordinator Shane. Caleb Williams is quoted as saying in the book, Williams told his father that he wanted to go to Minnesota Vikings after meeting with the head coach Kevin. According to the book, although the Bears refused to do anything but draft him with the number 1 pick. Now, here's my thoughts on this. I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. Think about it. This team finished dead last this past season, 5-12, while the Vikings finished in second place, 14-3. And it's sad for the Bears to finish dead last when you had a team with Caleb Williams, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, who had a good season, DeAndre Swift, who you went out and signed. And to finish dead last, I'm talking dead last in your division, is flat out embarrassing. It is an embarrassment, and you guys have to do a way better job. This is embarrassing. And it's just, me, in my opinion, I don't think it's the players at all. I think the Bears just have a horrible coach staff. Because it's just, I saw something that Caleb Post said, and I was like, there's no way that's true. He said, none of the Bears coaches last season told Caleb Williams to watch any film and gave him zero help. And he says, no one tells me what to watch. I just turn it on. The fact that there's coaches in that locker room not telling him to watch film is flat out embarrassing. And you can obviously see that it's probably true because if you finish 5-12 with that type of offense, you need to be embarrassed, And I think I'm surprised the head coach hasn't been fired already. This team stinks. You had a good offense. You built a good offense. You went and spent some cachet, and you finished at last. Now, the Vikings have had a pretty good reputation with developing good quarterbacks. Sam Darnold had a pretty good season, and they have a good team. You got Justin Jefferson. You had Aaron Jones. You also have Jordan Addison, or I think that's his last name. If I butchered it or said wrong, my apologies. They had a good team, and it obviously showed. They finished in second place, 14-3. Now, obviously, Bears didn't want to, and it's understandable. But I don't hate them for it because they stunk and they stink. And it's not even the players' fault, in my opinion. I think it's just this coaching staff, the way they got it, everything operated sucks. The fact that you don't tell your player, especially your quarterback, to watch film and he just does it himself, that's flat out embarrassing. If I was an owner or a president of operations, I'd be pissed if I heard a player come out and say something like that. I'd be like, what the hell are we doing? What we got going on in this locker room? And it's just the Bears haven't been doing anything at all, really. They haven't been relevant at all. Now, look, they're in a good division. You got the Vikings, you got the Lions, who are a very good team. So it's understandable, but you got to come up and do better at least. You got to end up at least in third place or close to second with that type of offense. Honestly. Now, I will say, Caleb Williams at the beginning of the season didn't do that well, but he picked up and they started to do a little bit better, but they just stunk up the place. And like I said, I think it's just the coaching staff, the way everything is operated. I think they got to do an adjustment, in my opinion, because if that's true, that's an embarrassment. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Last topic for today, my people, the NBA playoffs. I told you guys what I tell y'all. OKC and Denver was going to go at game 7. Both teams are doing good, but I have OKC winning this series. If Aaron Gordon is not 100%. You guys don't know, he tweaked his hamstring, I believe it was last night in last night's game 6. If he doesn't come back 100%, especially OKC has home court advantage, Denver's done. I'm sorry, but they're done. No cap. That's just me. I knew it was going to go game 7, though. Obviously, both teams are good, you guys. And it's crazy because Denver, this is the second series now. They're going game 7. You know, they got the Clippers, and now they did have a hard division or teams to play, to be honest. But I got OKC winning it, especially if Aaron Gordon's not 100% and they're going back home. The home court advantage, I think they'll win it. Also, I think the biggest thing is just Denver's probably just worn out, y'all. I think they're just worn out, especially going from that change of, play in Denver to OKC, and then just going 2 game 7s and, against the Clippers and now against OKC. I know it's exhausting for sure. And it's like, okay, you get game breaks, but still, man, it's rough. But I got OKC winning it. I think they'll end up pulling it out and going with the win. Now against the Timberwolves, we'll have to see. We'll discuss that later on. Knicks and Celtics. Listen, Knicks, I want you guys to listen very well. Very, very well. We have to win this series today. Today at home, game 6. And I think they will. We have to win. Because if Boston wins today's game, they are going to win the series 1 billion%. Especially going back home, game 7, Boston will win. And if they win this series and do a comeback, you guys will hear it from the fans till 2035. And I'm telling you right now, 100% that will happen. If the Knicks manage to blow this lead, they will not finish hearing from the Knicks fans every single season till 2035. 1 billion%. Because we're up right now. We're at home, game 6. There's no Jason Tatum. There should be no excuse why we can't beat Boston. No excuse at all. At all. So all I'm going to say is I got the Knicks winning today, 1 billion%. But if we don't, good luck because Boston's winning it. That's all I'm going to say. Hope you guys enjoyed this show. Have a good one. Stay blessed, stay humble, stay positive. Bye-bye.